Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Natea and this is Aesthetics, where I talk about topics that I care about and you should care about too if you choose. Today we are talking about Black materialism and capitalism and how it is destructive to the Black community. We're talking about this topic through summarizing and analyzing season 2 episode 10 titled FUBU of the comedy drama series Atlanta. This series was created and is starring Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino. The series first aired in 2016 and will soon be releasing its third season. The main characters in this series are Ern, played by Donald Glover, Alfred, aka Paperboy, played by Brian Tyree Henry, and Darius, played by Lakeith Stanfield. The series is based in Atlanta and it follows two cousins, Ern and Alfred, as they work to make their way through the Atlanta music scene. So the first thing we're going to do is summarize the episode, and then I'm going to give my analysis of the episode. So if you have never seen Atlanta, the series, if you have never seen one episode of Atlanta, after watching this video, you can still very well watch this episode because this episode is a flashback episode and it doesn't reveal any of the storyline really of what is going on in the show. And also, I'm only going to be summarizing the main plot line of this episode. There's a lot of different things that I would like to analyze in this episode, but I'm only going to summarize just the main points that I want to analyze and maybe eventually make a part 2 video about this episode. So let's hop right into the summary / breaking down the episode. I also want to give a trigger warning that this episode does include suicide. So if you are sensitive to that topic, definitely click off of this video. But I just want to give that trigger warning for people who need it. So the episode starts off with young Ern. He's in a TJ Maxx type store with his mom. And he ends up seeing or finding one FUBU shirt. And if anybody knows about FUBU, FUBU is a Black owned clothing brand that was popular in the 90s. So Ern was very excited to see this shirt and he asked his mom to buy it for him. And she ended up buying it for him. The next day, Ern wakes up early before his alarm for school, and he has the FUBU shirt laid out ready to wear it, and he wears it to school that day. Once he gets to school, Ern noticed that he's getting a lot of attention from girls, getting attention from people in his class. They're saying like, okay, Ern, I see you with the FUBU shirt on. They're coming up to him, touching it, and just observing his shirt. And then another kid named Devin walks in and he has the exact same shirt on, except for Devin, his shirt has like a patch and Ern's shirt has like more stripes. So then the students in the classroom, they notice like, hey, y'all got on the same shirt. One of y'all got a fake shirt on. Which one of y'all got a fake shirt? And of course, both Ern and Devin said that neither of them had a fake shirt on. So after class, Ern is explaining to his white friend about what happened and what's going on and how he's freaking out. And his white friend was very nonchalant. He was like, yo, like, why are you freaking out about this? And the white friend that he had, he was like, he pointed to his shirt and he was like, I wore this shirt twice this week. And Ern was like, I'm just worried about getting roasted for the rest of my life. So in the next scene, we see that Ern is working with another girl in his biology class as a group. And a girl behind Ern passes him a note. And it's another girl named Erica in his class that Ern likes. And the girl passes the note to Ern and it says, do you like Erica, yes or no? You know how you used to pass notes in class. So he checked yes. So then the note got sent back to Ern again and it said, is your shirt fake, yes or no? And Ern, of course, checked no, my shirt isn't fake. And then the note got sent one last time back to Ern and it said, are you sure? Because Erica don't like broke niggas. Which I thought was funny because like these kids are in like middle school. So it's like, why are y'all worried about materialism at such a young age? But we're going to get to that in the analysis. So then Ern, he's on his way to lunch and these two kids, older kids, they stop him and they are like picking at his shirt, saying that his shirt is fake. And Ern is like, I don't have no fake shirt on. And they're like, where'd you get your shirt from? And then they were like, who bought you this shirt? How much did it cost? All this stuff. And they were just like roasting him. And then Ern gets to lunch, and when he's grabbing his lunch, the two cafeteria like black men, they like smirk at each other and look at Earn and kind of like smirk at the fact that he has like a FUBU shirt on, and everyone is kind of noticing that Earn's shirt is most likely the fake shirt. And then while they're sitting down at lunch, the same two students that were teasing Earn and asking him about his shirt earlier were now teasing the other student who also had the same shirt on. And he was asking Devin, like, is your shirt fake? And Devin was like, no, like, I got all the new Jordans. I don't buy nothing fake. Earn wears all the fake stuff, stuff like that. So then in the next scene, we see that school ends and Earn immediately tries to leave the school building as soon as the bell rings. But then he gets stopped by the students that were teasing him earlier, and they bring him to a space where the other boy, Devin, who also had a FUBU shirt on, is, and also another Filipino student. So supposedly this Filipino student is a know-all. He's supposed to be able to decipher like fake from what's not. And he established and said that after looking at both tags of the shirt, that Earn's shirt was fake. So then everybody started laughing and teasing Earn. And then Earn's cousin, Alfred, aka Paperboy, he comes in and steps in and he looks at both shirts and he was like, nah, Devin has the fake shirt. And then everybody believed Alfred and they continued to tease Devin all the way until he got on the bus to go home. And they basically praised Earn because he had on the real shirt supposedly and teased Devin because he didn't. So then at the end, when Earn is on his way to the bus, he ends up getting the girl Erica's number because of course people now in the school know that he supposedly has on the real FUBU shirt. So he got some points there from her probably. And then the next day in class, the principal comes in and he announces that Devin, the other student who was wearing the FUBU shirt the day before, went home and committed suicide that night. And one of the bullies actually laughed in the class, which I thought was so disrespectful. And just think about that these kids are in middle school, so they're pretty young. So Earn gets home from school and his mom is there, his aunt is there, his cousin Alfred is there, and his mom asks him about, the death of the student at school and if he knew the student, and that was about it. And his mom didn't really she didn't at all. She didn't ask Earn how he was feeling. She was just like, oh, if anybody's ever teasing you, you better speak up for yourself. That was the only advice that she gave. She didn't comfort him, nothing, after knowing that one of his classmates committed suicide. So his mom diverted the conversation and she started talking about this event that was coming up and how she wanted Earn to wear a suit. And Earn wasn't really he was like, I'm not trying to wear a suit. And this is what his mom said, and I quote, "You got one chance to make a first impression. You are a black man in America. Your clothes are important." And then his mom tells him that she got him another FUBU shirt. And at this point, Earn doesn't care about getting another FUBU shirt. And he kind of just looks at it because, the kid from the day before literally committed suicide because of them both wearing the same FUBU shirt. So that's the end of the episode. And now I'm going to get into my commentary and analysis of the episode because there are so many things that I want to analyze in this. We don't celebrate and buy from black designers anymore. So FUBU is it was a black owned clothing brand. It was founded in the 90s by Damon John. And now if you wear any think of any black brands like FUBU, Sean John, Apple Bottoms, Baby Fat, you get roasted. You get roasted. If you have on a Baby Fat shirt or you get roasted. I remember at one point, I don't remember when it was, but in middle school, high school, I don't know how we know these things, but when stuff gets out of style. So I remember there came a point when I was in school and Baby Fat, and it wasn't cool to wear Baby Fat, Apple Bottoms, Sean John, none of that no more. at some point, I remember you get roasted if you wear this stuff now. And it's like, why can we not support our own brands? Why is it so hard for us to support each other? Like, I just don't understand the Black community at all, and how it's so hard for us to support each other and why we envy each other. So let's use FUBU as an example, since this episode did include FUBU. So FUBU was founded in 1992 by Damon John, and their first celebrity endorser turned devoted FUBU ambassador was the rapper LL Cool J in 1993.
You like your outfit stylish, any other line but the Gap is childish. Everybody working as your personal stylist. You're falling, once you hear the Gap calling. You can't resist the shopping, big ballin', not stopping, yes, y'allin'. Jeans popping in every mall in town, the city. GAP, gritty, ready to go, for us, by us, on the low. G, that's for getting the A for always. P, that's for power and the people that praise. Backwards, P for popular, A for attitude. G, get it going, daddy, Gap is on the move. How easy is this? Fall into the Gap.
Man, that Gap, FUBU, LL Cool J commercial, he's a true understanding of an influence. The Gap calls him up to do a commercial. They don't care that he can wear a FUBU hat. They don't even know what FUBU is. All of a sudden, he slips for us, by us in the commercial.
For us, by us, on the low. For us, by us, on the low. For us, by us, on the low.
We couldn't make enough product, so the kids started to go to the Gap for FUBU. Gap finds out almost 3 weeks later, after the commercial is airing. They spent about $30 million on this commercial. They pull the commercial, but then all of a sudden they find out the target market they were trying to hit increased 300% because the kids thought they can get FUBU at the Gap. Gap blows up. FUBU blows up. LL Cool J remains the superstar who slipped FUBU in the Gap commercial.
Then FUBU took off after that. By 1997, the line was raking in nearly 40 million. By 1998, over 350 million. And as more Black celebrities wore these Black brands, the more people bought them and the more revenue that they accumulated. But then now you see celebrities, they rapping and they wearing and talking about Gucci, Prada, Fendi, and all the Black brands then fell off. So basically these European brands, they came in and they decided to get endorsements from, rappers, people in the hip hop community to get them to wear their stuff. So it's like once these European brands started reaching out to rappers and hip hop artists, they totally just disregarded these Black brands. And it's like we literally sell out our own people and sell out for the white man. That's what we do. And even with Beyonce, like if we think about Beyonce and Jay-Z are two of the biggest Black capitalists. Two of the biggest Black capitalists, and they are very, very well-known Black celebrities. They both had their own brands back in the day. So like Beyonce, for example, Darion. Do y'all remember Beyonce Darion jeans? Because I do. And I remember even wearing Beyonce's Darion jeans wasn't looked highly upon. Like that was in the group of baby fat and apple bottoms and all of that, and I don't even think she sells Darion anymore. She just has Ivy Park. But when Beyonce was up and coming and she had those jeans, it's like even people did not even invest in Beyonce stuff, So it's like it don't matter who you are as a Black celebrity. People care about white brands. And I just feel like naturally, just with the way society is, we have diverted to praising whiteness and white brands and not praising our own brands and putting each other first, which I hate that for us. And coincidentally, FUBU means for us, by us. Why is it so hard for us to support things, businesses that are for us, by us? And like things that are like really for us, doing something for us and by us. Like, why is it so hard for us to support each other? As I keep saying, like, I just can't wrap my head around it. So as I said, we're talking about Black materialism and capitalism. And I just don't understand why Black people get so caught up in what we wear and how much we have and what kind of shoes you're wearing. Because at such a young age, as a black child, where do you think that black child is getting that mindset from? They're not getting it from himself or themselves. They're definitely getting it from their environment, or getting it from their parents, or getting it from the generation before them. So I don't understand why black people are so caught up in materialism. And then in the scene where like the white friend, he was like, I wore this shirt twice this week. Why can't us as black people be able to wear clothes more than once? Like, I've also experienced this as well. If I'm wearing something more than once, somebody might say something. But it's like, why does that have to be? Clothes are meant to be worn more than once. And even with me, like, becoming a minimalist and on my journey to becoming a minimalist and owning less, it's like, I can wear the same shirt twice if I like it. Like my shirts, I really like my shirts. So if it's still clean and I want to wear it twice in 1 week, I should be able to wear my shirt twice in 1 week and be able to mind my business, and everybody else mind their business too. So I don't understand like how white people, well, I do understand, but like how white people, they can wear the same shirt twice. They don't care about their appearance in that way. They don't care to always be wearing the top designer brands. They walk out as they are, and they are fine with that. And I'm not saying that like black people shouldn't present themselves, because we should definitely have pride in our appearance. But wearing an outfit more than once does not mean that you don't have pride in your appearance. It just means you're comfortable in what you're wearing. Because if I'm comfortable in what I'm wearing, that's all that should matter. It shouldn't matter to anybody else if I wore the same shirt twice in 1 week, or if I wore the same outfit twice in 1 week. And it's like, as the black community, we have to worry about getting roasted about these things and getting teased about these things. And it's like, we don't want to get roasted by our own community, but why is our own community trying to tear us down? You know, and most of the time, white people are making more money than us, than black people. And it's like, we decide to invest our money into these white brands that are most likely low-key, high-key racist, don't care about black people, but will still wear their designs and spend all of our coin on it, even if it is literally all of our coin. And another point is, I really don't like how black people always make it an effort to bring each other down. And it's like, so what if both students had the same shirt on? What does it matter? Like, the students really didn't have to go out of their way to figure out whose shirt was fake and whose shirt wasn't fake. Because honestly, Ern's shirt was fake. He had the fake shirt on. But as kids, y'all couldn't even decipher whose shirt was fake or not. Y'all didn't even solve the case correctly to figure out whose shirt was fake. And y'all just roasted whoever y'all thought had the fake shirt. Like, y'all don't even know. Our community, the black community, literally makes it a priority to bring each other down. And I find it coincidental kind of that like the next episode of Atlanta is titled Crabs in a Barrel. It's not a flashback episode, but it goes back into the storyline of the actual series. But like Crabs in a Barrels, you know, like crabs, they pull each other down. And that's exactly how the black community is. It's like, why do we continue to pull each other down and degrade each other for what? Like, why do we waste our energy to do stuff like that? Like, why do we waste our energy to bring each other down in the name of capitalism? Like, when capitalism ain't doing nothing for us buying into these big brands and wearing them is not doing anything for us. It's more destructive to us, as you can see what happened at the end of this episode, than it is helping us. And another thing this made me think of is playing the dozens. So the dozens is a game of insults. The dozens is usually played by two young black males, often surrounded by an interested and encouraging audience of peers, in which the players insult and provoke each other with put downs of each other's mother or other female family members. This process teaches one to take insults in stride while encouraging verbal retorts. The dozens is played more often and more intensely in urban ghettos, where frustrations are greater and the strategies of the ghetto are appropriate in a zero-sum game. Neither player really wins. The dozens works when the players share a common ethnicity, a degree of connectedness, and acceptance of the activity for what it is, a game. Now, I know that playing the dozens is a game, but playing the dozens can really impact somebody's life like it did here. And they weren't really playing the dozens here. It's not like, they got in a group and they were throwing yo mama jokes and things like that. But it's still that they were insulting the other student because he had on a fake shirt. And they were roasting both students when they didn't know whose shirt was fake or not and just trying to get to the bottom of it. So even though they weren't technically like playing the dozens, they were still throwing insults, which is kind of like playing the dozens, and that's why I said it reminded me of this. And even today, we see in Black culture like a lot of roasting and like playing the dozens. I remember growing up, there used to be this show called Yo Mama, and I don't even think that show was created by a Black person, but it's like playing the dozens, but it's a reality TV show where you give yo mama jokes to the other person, your opponent, and whoever has the best jokes wins. And then there's also All Deaf Digital that I know has a show on YouTube called Roast Me, and everybody roast each other in the room, and whoever, roast each other the best, they win. So I find it interesting how in Black culture it's engraved that we insult each other, and everybody doesn't have tough skin, and everybody doesn't want to be insulted. Nobody wants to be insulted. Matter of fact, it's like we learn to like put on this tough skin, and we learn to roast when we get roasted, and learn how to come up with better rebuttals. But like, why do we have this so engraved in our culture to insult each other and put each other down? So playing the dozens actually derives from slavery, just like everything else, and it has roots in slavery. Ossie Guffey, in her 1971 autobiography, recounted her grandfather's lecture. He told her that the slaves played the dozens, but that it wasn't for fun. They was playing to teach themselves and their sons how to stay alive. The whole idea was to learn to take whatever the master said to you without answering back or hitting him, because that was the way a slave had to be, so he could go on living. It maybe was a bad game, but it was necessary. It ain't necessary now. So just like in my soul food video about the Boondocks, and I talked about how soul food is engraved in Black culture and it is an integral part of Black cultures, and it's an important part of Black culture, our cuisine, of course. But there comes a time when the culture is destructive. And this is the same thing, in my opinion, that like playing the dozens and roasting each other and just making it a point to put each other down, even if it is in a playful way, even if it is a game, even if it is to see like who has the toughest skin. We need to stop doing that, because it's literally destructive. As you can see in this episode, this boy committed suicide and he was young. And also, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I know Black males, they have a high suicide rate. And it's already hard enough for men in general to come out about their feelings, talk about their feelings, be vulnerable because of hypermasculinity. So imagine how that is for the Black man. And I think that has a lot to do with why it's hard for Black men to be vulnerable and to talk about how they're feeling. Because I'm sure this student, he didn't want to go home and talk about how he was feeling. He just decided to end it. And even though like playing the dozens, it derived from slavery and it's a part of our culture, it's destructive, and it's something that we need to get rid of. We need to change and transform the culture so that it is something that is beneficial for us, so something that is positive for us. Soul food, I did look up after my Boondocks video, there are vegan food, soul food restaurants in places across the US, which I think is great strides. But unhealthy eating habits and talking about, oh, high blood pressure and diabetes run in our family. It don't really run in your family. It's more so your habits and how you eat, and that has been passed down through your family. These generational curses we're talking about. So it's like our food is destructive. Our mannerisms and how we treat each other is destructive. Even though they do have historical references to slavery and we are embracing where our culture came from, we also need to embrace that it is destructive and that we need to transform these things. How come we can't have, some type of, not roasting, but like affirmation? Like, why can't we have a group where we're affirming each other, where I'm saying like, you're beautiful, or that you are intelligent, or you're going to get far? Like, why can't we have something where we're affirming each other instead of putting each other down? Ever thought about that? I didn't think so. The dozens caping are forms of survival. Being able to keep cool and not take insults personally are things that allow Black people to be so effective. So the dozens, similar to soul food, it was a means of survival. With soul food using the most undesirable meats, it was a means of survival because that's what they had. And then with playing the dozens, it was a means of survival so that they could be able to take insults and not lash out and not get killed by their masters. That's what I'm inferring from what I'm reading here and the information that I have. So it was a survival technique and it was needed to survive then, but we don't need it to survive now. I find it interesting that something that was once used as a survival technique against our oppressors is now a destructive mechanism in our culture. Let me say that again. I find it interesting that something that was once a survival technique against our oppressors is now a destructive mechanism in our culture. I find that very interesting. And I always refer back to this book, but Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, a book I recommend that every Black person reads. It really talks about how slavery impacts African Americans and just Black people across the diaspora today. Like all of our mannerisms and things that we do and the way we live, how slavery is engraved in our DNA, really, and has been passed on to us. But as I was saying, like, playing the dozens pushed Devin, this student, to his limits. Some people cannot stand that pressure, cannot stand to be roasted in the fire and come out still alive. Some people get roasted in the fire and they don't make it out. And that was the student Devin. And this also carries into adulthood, because as you can see, adults are carrying this down to their children, because children don't just learn these things on their own. And even with the adults that were in the lunchroom who were the lunchmen, the way that they smirked at Earn and his FUBU shirt, like, that's how you know that adults also carry these mindsets. Just by the way that the Black lunchmen looked at Earn and his FUBU shirt, it shows how in adulthood people still act and think the same way. They didn't necessarily come out and like tease Earn, but like they still looked at each other and smirked and was like, yeah, he wearing a fake shirt. And it's like these mindsets go with us into adulthood, and then we pass it on to our children. So if you want to stop generational curses, you need to stop it with you. Not only did this make me think about playing the dozens, but this also made me think about this Kanye West song called All Falls Down. And I actually did, with my Music with a Message series, I did an article about this some years ago on my blog, and I'll link it in the description box. But a lot of the stuff that Kanye said in the verses of this song is very prevalent to this episode. So in verse 2 of the song All Falls Down, Kanye says, man, I promise, I'm so self-conscious. That's why you always see me with at least one of my watches. Rollies and Pashas done drove me crazy. I can't even pronounce nothing. Price that Versace. Then I spent $400 on this just to be like, nigga, you ain't up on this. And I can't even go to the grocery store without some ones that's clean and a shirt with a team. So as you can see, black people, we care about our appearance a lot. And we care about our appearance because of the stereotypes that white folks, non-black folks have put out about us, and we are trying to combat those stereotypes and prove them wrong. We're trying to prove these stereotypes wrong and like prove ourselves. And just like Ern's mother at the end of the episode, and she was saying, you're a black man in America, your appearance matters. Society has basically portrayed black people as poor across the diaspora. If you think about when people talk about black folks in Africa, and we're also portrayed as less than, and all these stereotypes. I feel that we try to use clothes, designer clothes, materialism, capitalism in order for us to prove society wrong, and prove that we are not, just poor people. We are not ghetto. We are not this. We are not that. We try to prove ourselves and prove that we are not these stereotypes by feeding into capitalism, when at the end of the day, it just goes to the white man's pocket. But it's really not proving anything. You're really just wasting your money on these clothes and these items when it's not doing anything to make you look any different to society. It's not. And later on in this verse, Kanye says, it seemed like we live in the American dream, but the people highest up got the lowest self-esteem. The prettiest people do the ugliest things for the road to witches and diamond rings. We shine because they hate us, floss because they degrade us. We trying to buy back our 40 acres. And for that paper, look how low we'll stoop. Even if you in a Benz, you still a nigga in a coupe. So it don't matter how much designer we wear or buy or flaunt. It don't matter if you are a billionaire like Kanye. White people still gonna view you as a nigga. That's how white people gonna view you. It don't matter how much money. So it's like we literally playing into capitalism just for it to play us. And like Kanye said, we trying to buy back our 40 acres. It's like we trying to buy our way out of racism. And that doesn't exist. We cannot buy our way out of racism. We cannot pay ourselves out. It's always going to be there. It's always going to exist. It's a social construct that is just going to keep going, because at this point, because it was a social construct, like, we can't get rid of it now. It's so engraved into our systems that it ain't got nowhere to go. It don't. So moving on to verse 3, Kanye says, we'll buy a lot of clothes, but we don't really need them. Things we buy to cover up what's inside, because they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth. That's why shorty's hollering where the ball is at. Drug dealer by Jordan, crackhead by crack, and the white man get paid off all of that. So as I was saying earlier, we play ourselves when we play into capitalism. Like, we buying all of these things just for the white man to get paid at the end of the day. Like, black capitalism isn't going to save us. Now, if we have money generated in our community, if we have the black dollar generated in our community, because the black dollar is like the dollar that like spends the least amount of time in its community. I'm gonna put the fact on the screen because I can't remember how much time the black dollar spends in the black community. But if we can get the black dollar to just stay in the black community, if we could actually do that, okay, we can do that. But if we just feed it into the white man's capitalism, then we're not doing anything for ourselves. Like, we're trying to cover up racism and cover up our blackness. Like, hey, I got on Versace, I'm not black no more. What's that verse? I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay, like, no, that's like the clothes, the Versace, none of that is going to cover up your blackness. You see this skin color right here, you're black. accepted. So no matter how many designer clothes you buy or wear, at the end of the day, white people still gonna view you as black. You still gonna be black at the end of the day. No matter how much money you have, you're still gonna be black at the end of the day. And you're still gonna be treated as such. And as a black person across the diaspora, not just in America, you get treated as less than. So Versace is not gonna do anything for you. Also, in regards to black minimalism, I really wish that there were more black minimalists. So in a video before this, I talked about me starting my minimalism journey. And a minimalist basically, I mean, you can define a minimalist, but minimalism is something different to everyone. So for me, minimalism is owning less. I definitely want to own less. I don't want to have a whole bunch of clothes, or I don't want to own a whole bunch of things. Like, we have so many material things, and a lot of them, they don't even matter. I mean, we can still have collections and stuff. Like, I love books. I love having like a book shelf and a collection of books, and I love art as well. So minimalism is not that. It doesn't mean you can't have collections. It's just owning less and owning more with intention. So there are like YouTube channels with black minimalists, but it's very few. And I wish that more black people could get into minimalism and could really embrace owning less and not feeding the white man's pockets. And I'm going to link some black minimalists if you're curious about minimalism content. And I'll also link some other minimalists as well if you're interested in minimalism and learning more about it. I know, like, I had so many thoughts analyzing this episode, but there were just so many things to analyze. But overall, capitalism, materialism isn't going to save us, is not going to save the black community. I don't really know what's going to save the black community at this point, but I'm hoping we can find some solutions together. So thank y'all for tuning in to my video and listening to me rant about this topic. And if you all have ever had experiences with materialism growing up, getting roasted for wearing certain things or any of that, definitely leave those comments in the comment section. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all in my next one. Peace.